Alrighty, so we are back. We just heard from Tyler about her kind of story, navigating life after losing her parents to suicide. And you shared very bravely.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm a bit shook. It's an intense conversation, but you did share very bravely, and I really admire that, so thank you. So, Michael, I want to jump back to you and ask again from your professional perspective as a psychologist and your background in psychology, what are some of the other factors that would cause a person to contemplate self-harm or suicide, but specifically, specifically speaking into kind of what happens in the brain, neurologically, psychometrology, I don't know the fancy terminology, so that neurological process that takes place and kind of how people are affected by the cycle of negative thinking that actually leads to contemplating suicide.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things to think about is obviously when you're talking about brain neurocircuitry and things like that, you're going to start to see the director that a couple of guys that are often, some of the stuff I look at quite often, they talk about low serotonin and things like that. You've got your GABA glutamate circuits and things like that.
Quick pause there. Serotonin is a hormone, correct?
Yeah.
What does it do?
It's the happy hormone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's GABA glutamate?
GABA glutamate, so...
The thing that made the Hulk green. It's like gamma radiation.
Yeah, there's gamma radiation ding dong. Sorry, gamma glutamate?
So like GABA, you're going to see more of, it's a calming kind of hormone, and glutamate is more excitatory, so agitation, irritation kind of thing.
Okay.
Which speaks to the presentation of depression in the different...
Yes.
But we won't get into that now.
Yeah.
You're going to see markers will change over there. So you're going to see drops in volition, which means just energy. Just, I don't have the energy
to do anything.
To actually do anything.
Even the stuff they like.
Yes. That doesn't make them happy anymore. And then you're also going to start to see a reduced level of goal-oriented effort, productivity. They're just going to stop doing things. They're going to start tending towards rumination, which is when like the camel chews the food over and over, and I think it's a camel, and it goes down and comes back up.
A cow.
Yeah, cows do rumination.
Right.
So you tend to just sit in negative thought for quite a long time,
Sure. Yeah.
and it begins to take over. The distortions begin to happen in the way you think. So like people don't actually love me at all. I don't even know why. Your brain's going to be saying to you, I don't know why you love yourself. You shouldn't love yourself. Like you actually just shouldn't be around. You really just you're wasting people's time and resources.
Yeah, that's what you mean. So,
yeah. With me, I think 90% of the time I never wanted to die, but death was the only solution. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to put this, but there's that moment where you're just like, if I die now, it's gonna be better. Everyone's gonna be happy that I'm gone, and they're gonna forget, And I've always attempted. I don't know how I've survived, but I didn't just think about it. I would attempt. Yeah. So, yeah.
Crazy. Sorry, back to you, Michael.
No, for sure. And I mean, these are the points we need to cover, because we're looking at essentially a gradual change in behavior.
Yeah.
That we start to see. And that's how we can start to pick up something's wrong, right?
Yeah.
But essentially, as your productivity drops, your energy levels, your volition drops, you just stop doing things that are important to you. You stop doing things that make you happy, and life starts to pile up like dirty washing just everywhere you look.
Sure, yeah.
Until there's so many things that are overwhelming you. I just don't have the energy to start working towards them.
Yeah.
And so I actually feel trapped inside my own life. Like there's no way.
That's such a good way of saying it.
There's no way for me to get away from this except through death.
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes, it's not always the case, but there's sometimes substances involved as a little bit of a push over the edge.
Yeah, and also like to, I guess, escape from reality, right?
Yeah. Definitely before that you're going to see substances involved, but you'll see a lot of guys, there's a lot of suicide, specifically in adults, happens under the influence of something. It just gives them more bravery.
Courage,
to go through it.
That's powerful. It's very intense, but it's so good to speak about it. And this quick little thing I'm going to add on is like, what's so incredible is that you can see your dad's wiring was that stuff was probably happening in the background. And I know, speaking from a dad also who suffered from mental health terribly before he passed away, was that stoicism of everything's okay for my family because I'm a provider, but I am not myself entitled to care and protection but they are, and they just don't know it. You know, someone we haven't heard from yet is Tristan, and that has been intentional because I kind of wanted to set up this space. Now, as Trulife, we go out into schools and we deliver pertinent messages that the next generation is dealing with, from primary all the way through to high school. We speak about substance abuse. We speak about healthy relationships and how to guard your sexuality, your leadership, your identity, all of these things that are so like interlinked. And we speak particularly into this issue of mental health. We've had to come into schools and do debriefing workshops when a principal or a teacher or a student from as young as primary school has taken their lives, and actually having to help the friends, you know, in that classroom space and teachers navigate with that after the fact. So Tristan and I, we've had experience in that space. Tristan has been on the ground a lot more recently, having these face-to-face conversations with kids. So I'm going to ask you a 2-part question. I gave you 2 questions prior, but I'm kind of adding an extra element onto the first question. So the first bit is, what has been the most common interaction you have had with young people pertaining to this issue of mental health, suicide, self-harm, destructive thinking and behaviors? And then secondly, what are some practical things that a person can do as a friend or an ally to help someone who may be experiencing depression or who may feel suicidal? Because you might not have the psychological, I've got a degree in this kind of perspective, but you're having to mentor kids right there in that moment and help them. So we'd love to hear from you.
So I think a lot of the time with kids out at schools, they, like Mike was saying earlier, some people are just so desperate to be heard. And so often what happens is they'll come to you and they say, like, I'm asking for a friend. They're the friend.
Yeah. They're the friend,
They're, most times they are the friend. And they have someone who is depressed or who self-harms and they don't know what to do. How can they help them? And they are trying to be there for them, but they just don't know what to do. That's a very, very common thing that we get out at schools. And I think, kind of answering your second question, what advice I give them.
Yes.
To help with that space. And even for me personally, I've had to walk through this in my personal life, being a friend to somebody who struggled severely with their mental health and suicidal thoughts. Is what I always like to tell them is the biggest way you can help those people is to realize that you are not their hero. And that actually you can't help them.
It's so powerful,
Like that is the toughest pill to swallow, because kids are also so like impressionable and it's easy to
they want to
feel
be
like
a good friend.
they want to be a good friend and they want to feel like they can help.
It feels nice to feel like you can help and fix the situation.
And to be like the one who's being confided in. Like, and also especially when you're a teenager, they trust me, they're confiding in me, I have to help them, I have to be there for them. And so the biggest thing is to realize that you can't save them, you cannot help them, and you need to get out of the way and speak to somebody and allow someone who is of qualification to let them in. The most dangerous space to be in is when you are the only person who knows. When you are the only person who knows. And I often share the story with my friend who struggled. Anytime he would bring up things that were alarming or tell me things that would make me feel like he's going to harm himself or he's going to take his life, I knew you need to understand the severity of it as well. Like, especially teenagers, like, you have to understand that maybe you think, oh, they're not really going to do it, or maybe they're just joking, but to take them at their word, because what if they do? Rather be safe than sorry. And so with my friend, I would immediately message his mom, message somebody who lived with him, and be like, this is what was communicated to me. When he gets home, let me know. Please keep an eye on him. Regardless of, because then they're like, oh, well, but it's our little secret. Like, they're confiding in me. They're going to be mad. You have to weigh up their life and then being mad at you. Like, what is more important?
Absolutely.
Like being the person who keeps all their secrets, or being brave enough to do something that could potentially save their life or save them from harming themselves, because you being the little secret keeper, the little confider, like, you're going to do more harm than good, unfortunately. So that's easier said than done, but just getting out of the way and allowing somebody who's older than you, who has professional experience, to step in and help, regardless of how scary that might seem in the moment.
Incredible. I love that you said, like, you have to be aware that you can't carry that thing. just to feel good about it, you know? Awesome. I think we're going to end this kind of episode or portion or bit of the interview. We're going to end it here, and then we're going to jump back in and ask Tyler her next question.